Ladies and gentlemen, I recorded a video. By the way, today I'm drinking super cheap. This was Potter's premium vodka. Premium, they say. Yeah, really premium. $4.50 will get you the 375 milliliter bottle, which is the equivalent of I think 8 shots. Don't know how I'm gonna drink it. I mean, I honestly don't know. Like, how is this gonna work? Maybe I could. Is there like a shot glass here? What if I use the skull? Maybe there's a way for me to drink it out of the skull. My battery on my skull died. Don't you just hate it when the battery on your skull dies? Ugh. It's like a nice little diode that lit it up, but then I passed out and I forgot to turn it off, and then when I woke up, it was dead. I think it's still kind of, yeah, see, look, it still kind of lights up a little bit, but that's only because now it's the next day, so the battery must have like rejuvenated slightly, because it was dying. It was definitely wasn't long for this world. Let's see, what else? Oh, I was talking about. There we go. I was talking about, where's my cork. My skull cork. Every skull needs a skull cork. I was talking about some movies the other day, but the problem is I was eating some Arby's, and I thought it would be a fun video, but it turns out the Arby's tasted like crap, and I ended up being really negative. I was just like constantly just talking smack about Arby's, and the problem is that eventually it's possible somebody might see the video and inform the people working at Arby's here in my town that I had something nasty to say about them, and I really wouldn't want that to happen because they do a good job. I'm trying to be a lot less negative these days. I'm trying to just be a little bit more, but it was like a 55-minute video where I was just eating a bunch of Arby's and just like, I was drunk and I was being profane, and, I'm trying to keep this, sort of a family channel. So, for that reason, I decided not to go through with actually posting the video. I think, instead I'm going to try to post this video. Maybe, it'll be an improvement over the last one. In case you hadn't noticed, I put some makeup on today. I decided to pull off the old Medusa. You probably didn't notice, of course, but, but anyway, see if I can just drink a little bit out of my skull here. What the heck just came off my head? Oh, the leather strap just fell off my head. Oh, it's not holding the mask. I mean, it's not keeping my face together the way it's supposed to. We all do our best. But anyway, today I feel like talking about a couple things. I was hanging out with some homies in the park, and we were talking about Paul Verhoeven films. Now, I love Paul Verhoeven. Paul Verhoeven's a great director. He's got some major credentials. I don't know what he's done lately, but surprisingly, we were talking about Paul Verhoeven. We were talking about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which obviously that's not Paul Verhoeven. That's Terry Gilliam. But the interesting thing was that it was a couple films. Terry Gilliam films, because we were talking about Fear and Loathing, which, is like a circle of friends. It was like 4 or 5. I think last night there were 6 of us, because this guy's dating this girl that I've never met before, but she was really nice. And yeah, she was really interested to talk about Fear and Loathing. I think she's a little bit younger, like 23, 24. And, you know me, I'm in my early 30s. And Fear and Loathing is a classic that we've seen many times. Always get a kick out of it when we watch it, but yeah, if you've never seen it before, check it out. It's worth watching. Benicio del Toro, obviously Johnny Depp, murders his performance, just absolutely slaughters the role as Hunter S. Thompson. And I saw it again maybe like, I don't know, 6 months ago, which I'll be honest, that might be the longest I've ever gone without watching Fear and Loathing, because I've seen the movie like almost more times than any other movie. And in my last video, I was talking about Natural Born Killers, and they kind of sort of have a similar vibe going. But unlike Natural Born Killers, Oliver Stone's classic, which is not a bad movie, Fear and Loathing is a cinematic gem. It's on a whole other level, in my opinion. Natural Born Killers is like a, I don't know. It's like when you go to like an art museum and you're like looking at different paintings on the wall. Fear and Loathing's, Natural Born Killers is like one of the paintings on the wall. It's like really cool to look at, but then you kind of just sort of move on. Fear and Loathing you don't move on from because it's so epic and astounding. You can just watch it again and again and again. And I don't want to cast shade on Natural Born Killers. It's just that it just doesn't do it for me. That's all. Whereas Fear and Loathing is, it's a genius at the top of his game. And then that kind of got the discussion started about some other movies. And interestingly enough, he brought up Hollow Man. And I asked the guy, my homie, Worm. His name's Worm. And I asked him like, you like Hollow Man, huh? I was like, that's sort of it's a Kevin Bacon movie from the late 90s. I think it's in 1998, 1999. Pretty much certain that it's 1999. And I saw it once, and I just remember feeling like, I don't remember much from it, because I think I was like 14 at the time. But I remember feeling like, dude, this is like dark and cynical and negative, and it's just like not fun. It's not fun. And Paul Verhoeven also directed Showgirls. Showgirls is a very rare NC-17 movie from 1995, I believe. Skulls for life, bro. I don't know what that means. I'm just saying stuff. I thought I was gonna burp, but then I thought I was gonna vomit. If I vomit right now, it's gonna look really weird. It's gonna dribble down. Yeah, Showgirls is really like not a very good movie. Showgirls is awful. And Hollow Man is okay. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a good movie either. It's sort of just like, it's sort of run of the mill, which is surprising because Verhoeven has 3 classics. As far as I know, I haven't seen every Verhoeven movie. I know he's done some international films as well, because I believe he's like a Swedish filmmaker. RoboCop, you can see I'm wearing my RoboCop shirt. Check that out. Heck yeah. Oh yeah, boy. Let's see if you can get the bottom of it. I'll show you the bottom of it too. Yeah, it's cool. RoboCop's a great movie. I was talking about it in my last video, but my last video ended up not being good because I spent too much time eating gross French fries, and kind of ruined the vibe. And I was like, I gotta be selective about the kind of content that I post publicly and make available to everyone. So I decided to just delete that video, even though it had its moments. I also thought about taking and editing it down from like 55 minutes into like 4.5 minutes, and then maybe there'd be something there. But then I thought, nah, I'm too lazy. I'll just delete the whole thing. That's kind of how I roll. Take the whole video, or I'll take none of it. So yeah, RoboCop is a gem, absolute gem. Wonderful film. Just evokes nothing but good feelings from me watching it because of how incredibly well made it is. It just there's not a dull moment in it. And I wanted to use that as sort of the, sort of set the stage. Oh, I got an itch on my nose. Hold on, let me scratch my nose. Set the stage for what I wanted to actually talk about tonight. Well, I wanted to talk about Starship Troopers, the other Paul Verhoeven film. He's got RoboCop, Starship. There's one other one. What's the Arnold Schwarzenegger one? I think it's 1987. Total Recall is a really good movie. Those 3 movies, you could watch those in a row. You could just be like RoboCop, Total Recall, Starship Troopers, just like one, just go. And yeah, you have a great time because all 3 of those. And interestingly enough, they all Oh, interestingly enough, well, okay, so two of them spawned multiple sequels, which were garbage, and Total Recall had a reboot. Which, who's the guy? Is it Hawkeye, the guy that plays in the reboot? Who anyway? I never saw the remake of Total Recall, but I don't like remakes. I don't like remakes of classic films, and yeah, I don't care how. It's like when you cover a classic song. Like, oh, what song do you want to cover? Oh, I don't know. Smells Like Teen Spirit, let's say. Yeah. Why don't you leave that song alone? On the other hand, Sublime's Doing Time is a terrific song, but I love the heck out of the covers as well. And so then there's like the Cure Love Song. There's like a 311 version. There's like they do like a kind of a reggae version of it. Another artist. Well, I mean, 311 does a sort of reggae tinged version, but then there's another artist that does a straight up reggae cover of Love Song. So some songs I think lend themselves to being covered, and other songs probably should never be. You know, Fight Fire with Fire by Metallica should not ever be covered, because you'll just suck. Like, you'll just suck. Like, you'll just make yourself look bad. Yeah, and I'm not even a big Metallica. I almost said Megadeth. I'm not even a big Metallica fan. I'm not a huge Metallica fan. I like Megadeth and Metallica. I like Megadeth more. Metallica's good too, especially when they were in the '80s, early '90s. They were unstoppable. But I'm not crazy about them to the point where I'd be like, oh, this cover is blasphemy. Nah, I'll listen to it, and if it's good, how are my worms doing? Are they flopping around? What the heck is that? What is this? What is that? Is that a clothespin? Why is there a clothespin on one of my worms? People putting clothespins on your worms, man. It's not good. Not good. What I really wanted to talk about was Batman. I want to talk about some Batman. Comic book, superhero from the 1938, 39 was the first Batman comic. And that was cool. Never read it, of course. But then in the 60s, there was a Batman show. Batman and Robin was in it too. I think, I almost wanted to say Fred Ward, but there's Fred Ward, Fred Willard, and Burt Ward. Burt Ward is Robin. Batman is played by Mayor, I was about to say Mayor Adam West. Yeah, Adam West from Family Guy. Mayor Adam West from Family Guy. That's Batman. He's actually, that's Adam West. Rest in peace. He passed away a couple years back. And the Batman show is good. I've seen a few episodes. I think it's fun. I think it's really cool. Don't have a whole lot to say about it, because I haven't seen a whole lot of it. But the Tim Burton film was the first introduction I had to Batman back in... the film, I believe, came out in 1989, but I didn't see it because I would have been 2 years old. I think I saw it when I was like 7 or 8. And I saw it actually right around the time that Batman Forever came out. So there was Batman. Batman was cool. What's his face? Jack Nicholson is the Jack Nicholson's Joker. Batman's played by I almost said Michael Caine. Michael Keaton. Let's see, who else? I don't remember. It's been a long time. Batman Returns. You've got Angelica Houston. Who plays Catwoman? Catwoman's played by can't remember. Some actress that's not in a lot of roles nowadays. I almost want to say Catherine Zeta-Jones, but no, I think I'm a decade off with that. I'll try to think of who played Catwoman, because it's in there somewhere. And then once again, Michael Keaton reprises his role. Danny DeVito plays Joker, and it's an interesting movie. It's pretty dark. Tim Burton. I got a weird itch here. Sorry, I gotta. When you're Medusa, it's really hard. It's hard to be Medusa. Batman Returns is cool. I don't know. It's whatever. And it's pretty good, I guess. Whatever. It's pretty good. I like Batman Returns more than the first one, because I just think that, what's her face, when she's getting all licked by cats and brought back to life, when the penguins bite the dude's thumb off in the stock market, like, office building, like, cool memorable moments. But honestly, I just haven't seen them in a long time. Batman Forever, you got Two-Face and Riddler. Riddler is Jim Carrey. Two-Face is Tommy Lee Jones. Batman in that movie is played by Val Kilmer, who at that time in the 90s, Val Kilmer was like A-list. Like Val Kilmer should have been like Leo DiCaprio. He should have been like going places, but I don't know what happened. He was in Tombstone, he was in Batman Forever, and then he sort of petered out. I don't know what happened to Val Kilmer. I guess he has like a country career now or something. Batman Forever's okay. It's not bad. It's got a lot of cool moments in it as well. I like the music. I can't, for some reason, I know the theme from the Tim Burton Batman movies. It's really good, but I can't think of it right now. But I do know the theme from the Joel Schumacher, is it? Who directed Batman Returns and Batman and Robin. It's got like dun, 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 dun. Pretty cool. A lot of bright colors, very fast cut action and explosive special effects and all kinds of, I don't know. I mean, people say it's a little bit schlocky. I think Schumacher said something like he's never read a comic book before, and he was like trying to create a comic book, but he's never actually read one. That was weird. Like that's kind of off-putting, isn't it, to hear that from a director? Like, oh, I'm gonna make a movie that's just like a comic book, but I've never read a comic book. Well. Or what's that movie Zombieland where they asked like if Bill Murray if he has, sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Zombieland, they asked Bill Murray if he has any regrets and he says Garfield. I think if you ask Joel Schumacher if he's had any regrets, he's probably going to say something like Batman and Robin probably. Batman and Robin is on paper it seems cool. They introduced Robin in Batman Forever, and actually it's a really cool scene. The trapeze scene's pretty memorable. Chris, whatever the heck his name is, I almost said Hemsworth, but obviously that's Thor. Chris, whatever the heck, I think he's a Chris, and he's Robin, Batman and Robin. This time Batman's played by what's his face from ER, George Clooney, and you got what's her face from Kill Bill. It sounds Uma Thurman. I was gonna say Uwe Boll. I mean, why do I always want to say Uwe Boll? I don't know why I do that. Everybody's name is Uwe Boll if they have a U name. Uma Thurman, and obviously Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, and it's a good time. Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, to me, are both like equally like good and not good. I think probably Batman and Robin is the lesser film because it really does sort of get on your nerves after a while, whereas Batman Forever is kind of, I feel like Batman Forever, you can just sit down and watch it and be like, okay, well, now what's next? Like, they're both the kind of films where Jeremy Jahns would probably back me up on this, and a little more fun with some alcohol. But I nostalgia out over those. I wouldn't call them classics, but they're certainly part of my childhood. They're okay. So then, I don't hate Batman and Robin. I think watching it now, you know what the thing is? You got to go into it kind of thinking about the film like it's. I don't know where the budget was spent, but to me, it's kind of like watching a stage play. Like it's just it feels very choreographed, and it's not really cinematic. It just doesn't hold up. It's not good. So if I were to rate the movies thus far, I would give Batman 6.5 out of 10. I'd give Batman Returns a 7 out of 10. I'd give Batman Forever 5.5 out of 10. I'd give Batman and Robin like a 3. I guess a 3 out of 10 is fair. And so that's where we're at so far. I'm not gonna rate the show or the comics or anything, even though I'll rate all forms of media, but I'm not gonna go there. And then nothing came from Batman for a while till we had the Nolan trilogy. I saw Batman Begins when it first came out on DVD, I believe. Cool take on it. You had this time around you had Michael Caine as Alfred. You got Christian Bale as Batman. Morgan Freeman's in there. Cillian Murphy is the Scarecrow. It's been a while since I've seen Batman Begins. Liam Neeson plays Ra's al Ghul. And it's a lot of fun. It's a cool movie. Really interesting. very like like a realistic take on the Batman character, like trying to like not none of that like we're trying to sell superhero toys nonsense. Just sort of try to provide you with a realistic take on Batman, because Batman's a really cool character. When you really break him down, you understand that he's, well, he's not a superhero. Obviously, he's just a man who knows a lot. He's like sort of like Neo and Keanu Reeves, let's say, or Keanu Reeves' character in what's the one where they kill his dog? The heck's that one called? I can't think of things. John Wick. Christian Bale's Batman just feels like a person that could actually believably exist, and I think that's what Chris Nolan was going for. Christopher Nolan, when he made this film. I'd already known Christopher Nolan from Memento. I was a big fan of, and that was about it. I did see The Prestige, but I saw that after I saw Dark Knight, even though I think that Prestige was released first. Batman Begins is really cool. It to me, it's way better than any of the previous Batman movies that preceded it, including, what some people would call the classic Batman movies, like the dude who directed Beetlejuice, and what's that one about the guy who directed Plan 9 from Outer Space, Ed Wood? Oh, it's called Ed Wood, Tim Burton. Yeah. Tim Burton's a good director, but his Batman movies are not my favorites that he's directed. I actually like, if we're talking about Tim Burton, I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with him. I love some of his movies and I hate others. Like, I really don't like his Planet of the Apes, for example. Some of his movies I just actively try to ignore that they exist entirely. Like, I really just don't care to see his Alice in Wonderland or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which both happen to star Johnny Depp. Coincidentally, Ed Wood, and I'll probably make another video about Ed Wood another time, is an amazing movie. And that does bring things full circle, because Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is how I started the whole discussion. I am a big fan of Johnny Depp when Johnny Depp is a big fan of Johnny Depp. I think he kind of phones it in sometimes, and I think he uses his own persona as a crutch. Whereas he's truly inspired in films like Ed Wood. Ed Wood is a really great movie. If you understand the backstory and realize that it's sort of a biopic and understand what the filmmakers were trying to achieve. I think it's the same writing team that put together the new one with the Dolomite guy with Eddie Murphy. My Name is Dolomite. Which I saw at the Laemmle theaters, but I was super drunk, so I don't remember much of it. I remember enjoying it. That's all I know. I'll have to see My Name is Dolomite again, but it's the same people that did Ed Wood. Both great movies. Ed Wood I have seen sober, so I can actually attest to its brilliance. Johnny Depp is great. He's great in Fear and Loathing as well. He disappears into his Hunter S. Thompson. And, love him. And, say what you will about Tim Burton. I think that he's got a lot of talent, and he's made some great movies that have, I got one friend, my friend, I won't say his name, I'll just call him BF. BF, like best friend, but those are his initials. His initials are BF. He hates Tim Burton, like with a passion that is I can't understand. Because if you know anything about making movies, you should know that to be able to make a movie like, let's say, Edward Scissorhands, which coincidentally also stars Johnny Depp, is not an easy task. It's truly an amazing experience. Like, Edward Scissorhands is a great movie. It's just a fantastic experience. And if you hate Tim Burton, that's fine, but don't hate his movies, because Edward Scissorhands is a great movie. At the same time, and I know a lot of Batman fans will get on my ass for this, and maybe they can change my mind with logic and reasoning and whatnot, but I think that Joel Schumacher's Batman films are certainly as entertaining as Tim Burton's. I think Christopher Nolan dominates them both. Batman Begins is great. If there's one thing I don't like about Batman Begins, it's the weird kind of the villain, Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow, and his plot to turn the water supply into some sort of vapor that's going to make everyone insane. That just sounds very much like the kind of thing that would happen in like one of the Joel Schumacher Batman movies. It's just very silly. Sort of like the brainwave thing in Batman Forever that's going to make all your brains go. It's just dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. Everything else about the movie is good. I give it a 7 out of 10, which I think that would be the highest score. Maybe tied with Batman Returns, I suppose, perhaps. Even though they're very different movies. Now, Dark Knight is... Give me a second. Dark Knight is the best superhero movie I've ever seen. Where is that my hat? Am I supposed to be wearing that? Was I supposed to be wearing this? No. Is that possible? There we go. There we go. Yeah, Dark Knight is the best superhero movie ever made. It's better than the Avengers. It's better than whatever you want to say, like Winter Soldier. It's better than. I mean, what would people reasonably argue could come close to Dark Knight? I'm trying to think. Like, I guess not Age of Ultron. That wouldn't compete. Maybe Endgame. People could stack it up next to Endgame. That would be fair. Because if you're really invested in the characters, then Endgame, I suppose, would perhaps even trump it, just for pure entertainment value. But, Endgame is the result of a lot of movies that have kind of built up these characters over many years. Dark Knight just sort of came out of nowhere and introduced a bunch of characters. Introduced Two-Face, introduced Joker, moved forward with Batman. It was the first time that Batman was actually like Batman for a full movie. He didn't transform into Batman and become Batman from just a regular person. So, Dark Knight is incredible. Dark Knight, I don't think Dark Knight is toppable. It really, I don't think it is. It's not. It certainly wasn't topped by Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises is great too, but I just have some... There was somebody who made like a video, like an 8-minute video, talking about all the plot holes in Dark Knight Rises, and Dark Knight Rises is better if you look at it sort of like as a fable, like it's like a story, it's like a legend, and if you look at it that way, then it works, I suppose, for the most part. But Dark Knight Rises is sort of a dumpster fire. I would give Dark Knight Rises a 6.5. I would give Batman Begins, let's say, a 7. And I would give Dark Knight Rises, I was going to say 8.5, but I'll probably give it a 9. And if you know how I rate things, a 9 is twice as good of a film as an 8, which is twice as good of a movie as a 7. So that's the way that I rate things. A 9 is almost unattainable. A 9 would put Dark Knight Rises for me in the top probably 30 of all the films that I've ever seen. Because I only have about 6 or 7 10s. So a 9 is, insane. Like, that's... basically, with a 9, like, anything over an 8, I don't have any complaints about. So, Dark Knight is just... Dark Knight is... Every moment of the Dark Knight is iconic. It's incredible. It's just... I mean, the movie starts with... Forget about all the other movies. I'll just talk about Dark Knight. Well, I'll spend a couple minutes talking about the new trailer, because I just saw the new The Batman trailer with that guy, Robert Pattinson, from the Twilight movies. I know a lot of people are like, dude, he's been in so many movies since Twilight. Yeah, I know, he's been in a lot of movies since Twilight, but I haven't seen those movies, so... I was forced to sit down and watch Twilight years ago, and unfortunately I still haven't gotten over the traumatic experience. But Dark Knight is just amazing. The opening scene where there's a few things that don't work for me, like when the bus comes crashing through the wall and knocks over the dude. Like, it doesn't really look like he got knocked over enough to like kill him or whatever. So that was weird. I don't know why that shot was kept in the movie. That was like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, for everything to be like pulled off so well. But that shot where the wall gets busted up by the bus and the dude doesn't like... I just feel like they should have like CGI'd in some extra like debris to make it seem more plausible that he got just wiped out by the bus backing in. But anyway, everything else about it was great. Batman, cool. Christian Bale's like on top of things. The Cillian Murphy scene where he's talking about like, oh, you know, you don't like my drugs. And, you know, then you can buy from somebody else, but there's nobody else to buy from or whatever. And then... Did my glasses just fall off? Oh, my hat fell off. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. The sun's not shining. I kind of want to put it back on anyway. Maybe I'll put it back on backwards. Yeah, I'm moving my hat backwards now. What do you think about that? Yeah. Looks like a yarmulke. Yeah, that seems like Cillian Murphy's like, that's not Batman. I was like, and, you know, these wannabe poser Batmans are attacking them, the drug bust. And then Batman just comes rolling in his tumbler, just completely destroys the, like, side of the parking lot. I'm not going to get too into the movie. I'll mention a few other things, but, particularly in the first 90 minutes, because the first 90 minutes of Dark Knight are untouchable. The last half hour is like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Certainly I'm not going to complain. But yeah, I just love his introduction with the tumbler when he comes busting through the wall. And like Killian's like, the Scarecrow's like, that's probably him. Like, and then oh man, jeez. So great. So great. Batman just like clinging to the side of the Econo van. It's like a Ford Econo van or whatever. And he's like got his like on his wrist, like tearing into the metal. And when he drops down onto it, and the guy's like, and he arrests them all, including the people that are imitating him. And they're like, you know, what's the difference between you and me? And he's like, just as the tumbler thing is like closing down over his head, he's like, I'm not wearing hockey pads. Yeah, and I like how he's not at Bruce Wayne Manor anymore. He's just in this like penthouse that you have to get into from a storage locker. What else? I don't know. I can't remember who plays Rachel in the first one. It's escaping me at this moment. But I know Maggie Gyllenhaal plays her in Dark Knight, and she's really good in the performance. I love the scene where she, spoiler alert, dies. Is really, really affecting. Aaron Eckhart is great. I love the way that they throw in little subtle things too, like to allude to the fact that he's going to become Two-Face, like how he flips the coin, and then later on it reveals that both sides of the coin have heads, and yeah, I love the scene between him and Bruce Wayne when they move the tables together. He's like, it's okay, I own the place, I don't think they'll mind, and he just like gives like a quick glance at like somebody off screen to imply like this whole thing was planned. And yeah, he's such like the way that they make Bruce Wayne look like such a billionaire playboy is so, to me, believable and accurate to what you could plausibly expect. It's like, where he's like falling asleep at boardroom meetings and that kind of thing. And Morgan Freeman, speaking of which, does a great job as always. Like name a movie that has Morgan Freeman where he doesn't do a great job. He's great as Lucius Fox. Just destroys the scenery because he's Morgan Freeman, and you're just feeling it. Like that scene where he's showing him the new gear with all the different like plates and stuff, and then the stuff fires off and then hits the like it's like a filing cabinet, and Lucius is like, you might want to read the instructions first. And then later on, they go and apprehend, what's his name? The Asian guy, Lau, or whatever. He's like, I'm from Hong Kong. I'm very good with... He's like, I'm good with calculation. And just great performance with the phone kind of thing, where he leaves the phone there, and the phone comes to life, and they end up apprehending him. I love that scene, by the way. That's just another great scene in The Dark Knight, where he apprehends Lau. He's like standing on top of the building, and he drops down. He's just like, there's no music or score. He's just kind of like fluttering. You can hear like the like obviously that's not the sound, but just like the flapping of the bat wings when he crashes through the window and starts kicking ass. Yeah, so cool, so cool, so cool. Yeah, and he he's a squealer, because Batman has no jurisdictions, as Joker says in his. I mean, obviously, he's introduced at the very beginning of the movie, but Nolan wisely chooses to keep him out of the film until that sort of scene where they're discussing their next move, and then the Joker walks in and he's like, ha 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 ha, and then he's like, and I thought my jokes were bad. Should I take the mask off or should I just leave it on? I think I'm just going to leave it on. We all wear masks, Mr. Ipkiss, metaphorically speaking. What movie is that from? But yeah, I love that Joker scene where he's sort of like talking to him. He's like, he says like, you used to run this city, but, everybody now everybody sees your true colors. What happened? Your balls drop off. And the black dude who played Spawn, another movie that I'll talk about maybe another time, Leguizamo. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the actor's voice, but or the actor's name, but I remember his voice and his face from Spawn. But I'm almost certain that that's the guy from Spawn. He's like, Heath Ledger's Joker is like, you see, a guy like me, and then the Spawn dude is like, freak. And Ledger's like, a guy like me, listen. So it's so great, like he's losing his audience, so he decides to just kind of like go another route, that's the chaotic mind. Joker has a chaotic mind, and that's just a great way of demonstrating the fact that I think I heard somebody, this isn't my own private theory, this is something that I heard somebody say, that the Joker was, as portrayed in The Dark Knight, is probably like a Navy SEAL or like a Rambo type, who just like served in war and lost his mind, and who knows how he actually got his scars. They don't really reveal that, but he probably has like PTSD. But he's probably like, in addition to being a total sociopath, he's probably like a brilliant, genius mind that is just capable of thinking like playing a chess game and being like 10 steps ahead of everyone, which is very much what he's shown as being capable of in the film. That scene where they're all marching and he's like the 21 gun salute type scene, and then you see that he's dressed up in all that army gear, like that makes me think perhaps that's his uniform. Perhaps it's possible. But yeah, I love how he kills his own goons, but then the guy who tries to stop him from robbing the bank, played by William Fichtner, I believe. Fichtner, can't remember his name, but anyway, the guy at the very beginning of the film, he comes like marching out of his cubicle, or not his cubicle, but his like bank office with a shotgun, and I believe that's William Fichtner. Joker like shoves a grenade in his mouth, and you think he's gonna blow up, but it's just like some kind of gas. It's like probably Scarecrow's like gas that makes you really high. Who knows? Like, it's just chaos. It's just constantly chaos. And obviously, I'm sure everybody talks about the pencil scene. Watch me make this pencil disappear. It's gone. It's gone. Everybody loves that moment. That's when you really kind of feel like it's very hard. I don't know how, by the way, this movie got away with a PG-13, because even though there's no like graphic violence in it, there's just so much chaos and insanity throughout the film. Particularly Two-Face, Harvey Dent, when he becomes Two-Face, is pretty graphic. And also, it doesn't quite hold up, but it still holds up really well. It's sort of like my perspective on Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face is that as soon as you see him and you see his wounds, you realize he's pretty much like not gonna make it. Those wounds are just not survivable. Once he leaves the hospital, it's pretty clear to me that he's not gonna pull through and survive this film, because it'll get infected. Like, you can see his tendons and stuff. I don't know how they got away with that. I really don't know how they got away with that. They must have like sent images to the MPAA, and we're like, hey, can we do this? Can we show that? And MPAA was like, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, it's so, like, to me, it's so disturbing graphic. The first time I saw the movie, I was like, man, I can't believe this. And the way that they get his eye to move around and stuff is so striking and really captivating. Aaron Eckhart, and in the past, I've kind of been a little bit critical of Dark Knight for the way that they turn Harvey Dent into Two-Face, because he's such a, as they say, white knight. He's so committed to the safety of the city to the point where he's willing to sacrifice his own life. He doesn't care if he's killed in the line of duty. But after Rachel dies, everything just goes to hell for him when his face gets burned. Rachel's dead, and I guess, I mean, that's how they set up the believability of his confrontation with Joker, where he decides to actually work with him. But in the past, I've been a little bit critical of that, not really feeling like this Harvey Dent version of the character working with Joker, just because, I mean, Joker killed Rachel Dawes, and yet now Harvey Dent is essentially in his service. It's really hard to, for me, there's a bit of a leap that you have to take, and I guess that's what they're literally showing that on screen when he flips the coin, like, we got to take a leap of faith. And I think that that's sort of analogous to the audience. Like, come along with us. We're going to flip this coin. Look how it turns out. And, you go along with it because, the main villain is really a Joker. He carries and steals every scene that he's in. He's incredible. I love the movie. It's not a perfect film, in my opinion. But I'll tell you what it is perfect at. And that's pacing, the way that it's structured, the way that all the scenes are laid out. I just love, I love seeing Batman in the tumbler. I love that moment where the Batpod busts out of the tumbler. It's got so many little surprises and tricks in it. Batman, when he's got the white eyes because he's like looking, he's in the building, but he can see things through the cell phone signals. That's cool to me, especially in light of the fact that it's 2020 now and that technology seems very, very plausible, whereas maybe in 2008 it seemed a little bit extreme in terms of believability. A little far-fetched, I mean. I think, and of course, can't talk about Dark Knight without talking about the boat scene. The two boats, the two ships, one prison ship and one sort of like a cruise ship filled with basically, citizens, pedestrians, one with prisoners, convicts. That all plays out in a way that I feel is very cinematic and kind of has you biting your head. It's sort of a nail biter and really great. And also that actor, who's the big black guy that decides to push the button, but then he throws it out the window. Classic moment. And then the other guy that wants to push the button, but then when it really comes down to it, he can't, and he sets it down. Great. The cinematography is incredible. There's so many great shots. There's so many great ways that they capture, like the Joker, like the scene where Joker and Rachel, and he's like grabbing her face, and he's got the knife up to her face. The way that the camera sort of pans around, and you can see her terror, but also her, her sort of steadfast demeanor, where she's not gonna be necessarily like demonstrating how frightened she is, like her confidence that something's gonna help her. I don't know, just so well acted between Heath and Maggie. It's just I would say that is up there in terms of the best moments in the film. Haven't of course mentioned the interrogation scene. Everybody likes that when Batman just pulls the Joker over the table, smashes his hand, punches him in the face, throws him against the wall, and you can see like the actual bricks crack. He puts the chair. Batman just takes the chair, just methodically, just like walks over to the door and just crams it under the door. Man, there's just so many great moments, so many great lines. Commissioner Gordon, played by Gary Oldman, just incredible acting. Gary Oldman just disappears into every role he plays. It's incredible. Like he's like what's his face that plays what's his face that that's not nice. That's not a nice way to say Daniel Day-Lewis and Gary Oldman. They're both, I believe, British actors who just disappear into their roles. But Gary Oldman's more of a character actor, so he has a lot of different roles. Whereas Daniel Day-Lewis, I think he's more selective, and he has fewer performances, but he's usually top billing. But Gary Oldman's cool with just like being a sort of a side character. But when you look at Gary Oldman's profile as an actor, like his characters are all so varied and distinguishable from one another. And his Commissioner Gordon is one of, I think, his best performances, because it's just so incredible that he's able to embody that character. Man, I'm trying to think of things I don't like about The Dark Knight. I'm really trying to think about it. Let's see, the special effects, the tone, the pacing, the story, the script, the just the way that it moves along musically, the musical score, all the different performances from all the actors. Geez, I mean, I'm just like a little fangirl gushing about Dark Knight. It's astonishing. It's knowing that like almost all of it, obviously Two-Face is CGI, and there's some other CG stuff happening, like when they shoot up the van, all the bullet holes that appear kind of like a little bit CG. And like I said, I opened this with talking about some of the effects that didn't really quite work for me, like when the bus backs through the building. But yeah, it's just the IMAX stuff doesn't bother me. I know that there's some people that complain because it's a widescreen movie, but then there's IMAX scenes that are filmed in like 4:3 when normally it's like 2.26 to 1 ratio or whatever. But whatever. Sound effects are great. It's just great sound. Love the colors. Plot holes. I mean, there's a few shots. I can't think of anything on the top of my head, but there's a couple shots where Christian Bale's head is like angled a certain way, but then it changes to another angle of him, and his head's like in a different position. There's a few shots that don't quite work for me. I know that they keep it real loose when they're filming it. I've heard that the experience of being on set at The Dark Knight was actually surprisingly relaxed, and maybe like a more tense set, more disciplined set would have led to fewer of these kind of flaws that you notice when you study the film closely. There's a lot of these kind of shots where they kind of like they've got the camera on like a track, and it's like a kind of a like a David Fincher type thing where he puts the camera on a track and it sort of moves around like that. I'm not crazy about that kind of film technique. I like a more dynamic or dynamic static approach where things are like moving around and you kind of feel like you're in the moment, or things are just completely stationary and you're just kind of watching it unfold as if it were a play. At the same time, it seems like every shot he's got to like move the camera slightly. Like it'll be like a 6-7 second shot, and it'll start, and the camera will be starting out here, and the character's head will sort of like drop down a little, and it'll show more of like the space above him. I kind of just feel like that's the director simply trying to be directorial and artistic, and I notice stuff like that, and I'm not crazy about it. But all things considered, I'm going to give The Dark Knight a solid 8.5 to a light 9, and say that it is in fact the greatest superhero film of all time. And I know I said I was going to talk about The Batman, the new trailer, but honestly, what are we at now? Yeah, 48, almost 50 minutes. We don't have time to get into that right now because it's going to be I'm literally going to overheat inside of this thing. So let me peel it off after I stop the film, of course, and upload the video, delete it off my phone so that I can get some space back. And then we'll see. Maybe I'll talk about the new Batman, The Batman trailer. Maybe talk a little bit about The Boys, some other stuff that's on my mind, and maybe keep it going. Who knows? Let's have some fun. Go down to the liquor store, get yourself a Four Loko, and come back home without drinking it, of course, and crack it open and be done for the evening in terms of your deterministic transportation aspects regarding your own personal livelihood. And did that make any sense? Was that just nonsense? Yeah, let's hang out a little more. We'll talk about the new Batman trailer. and maybe some other stuff. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about the Marvel movies. I don't know. I think it might be a little bit too much superhero stuff for one day. I might take it another direction. Might talk a little bit more about my thoughts of Christopher Nolan. Perhaps not Christopher Nolan, but well, Christopher Nolan for sure, but Oliver Stone as well. Maybe a little bit of Quentin Tarantino. We can get into him. And I don't know, maybe some musical stuff. I might talk about Nine Inch Nails, Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana / Courtney Love, Hole, conspiracy theories, the moon landing. I don't know. By the way, the moon landing is not a conspiracy theory. When I said conspiracy theories, what I meant was like Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain, because I was talking about a friend the other day. I was talking to a friend the other day about Kurt Cobain killing himself and whether or not Courtney Love had anything to do with it, which I strongly disagree with the notion that that's possible, and I have many reasons why. So there's just so many things that we could have fun talking about. So enjoy the rest of your day, and if you're stuck at work and you feel like listening to something, why not listen to me? We'll have a lot of fun. What do you have to lose? You have everything to gain. Well, not everything. You have something to gain. You have nothing to lose. Come kick it with me. I'll be here. And I'll see you next time.